I, female, 32, am being accused of trying to kiss my best friend's husband at her birthday party, but he tried to kiss me. Now she's blocked me and everyone thinks I'm a homewrecker. Throwaway for obvious reasons. I've been a long-time lurker but never thought I'd have to post about something like this. Sorry in advance for the wall of text. I'm still kind of in shock and my thoughts are all over the place. So me and Tamara have been best friends since high school art club sophomore year. We bonded over our terrible paintings and just clicked immediately. We were basically inseparable through high school and even went to the same college, though we had different majors. She did education, I went into photography. About 3 years ago, I had just broken off my engagement with my college boyfriend Mark after finding out he had a gambling addiction and had drained our savings account. I was looking for a place to live, and Tamara mentioned the house next to hers was up for sale. I wasn't really planning to buy a place yet, but after everything with Mark, I just wanted something that was mine, that nobody could take away. So I scraped together what little savings I had left, plus some help from my parents for the down payment. It's been amazing living next door to each other. Our backyards connect with just this little decorative fence between them, that we've both kept that way on purpose. We're always going back and forth for impromptu wine nights, or just to hang out. I watch her daughter Lily, she's 4, all the time when they need a sitter. And it's super convenient with the yards connected like that. Tamara's been married to Dean, male, 36, for about 6 years now. He works in finance at some big firm, making way more money than either of us, lol. And he's always been, I don't know how to describe it exactly. He's super charming and friendly, and everyone loves him. But something about him has always made me a little uncomfortable. Not in any way I could really put my finger on. And I never said anything to Tamara because that would be weird, right? Anyway, last weekend was Tamara's 32nd birthday, and I planned this whole party for her. I ordered this specialty cake from the bakery we used to get cupcakes from in college, and they almost ruined everything by spelling her name wrong as Tamara, even though I specifically spelled it out for them when ordering. I had to run back and get them to fix it, like an hour before the party started, which was super stressful. The party itself was great. About 30 people came, including our mutual friends, some teachers from the elementary school where Tamara works, and some family members. Lily went to bed around 8, and then the adult part of the party really got going. Most people left around midnight, and I stayed to help clean up. Tamara went upstairs to check on Lily, who had woken up briefly. I was in the backyard taking down decorations. This is where everything went to hell. I was gathering decorations when Dean came outside with 2 glasses of wine. He offered me one and I said, "No thanks, I'm driving." He told me I looked pretty in the moonlight. I thanked him awkwardly and tried to busy myself with picking up more decorations to create some distance. Then, out of nowhere, he put his hand on my waist and leaned in to kiss me. I immediately stepped back and dropped some of the decorations I was holding because I was so shocked. I told him that Tamara was right upstairs, and what was he doing? His whole expression changed from confident to defensive, and he said he thought we had a connection, which is absurd because I have never ever flirted with him or given any indication I was interested. I told him I needed to go and basically speed walk to my yard. As I was leaving, he called after me saying he was just being friendly. I couldn't sleep at all that night. I kept going back and forth about whether to tell Tamara we've had one major fight before in college over a misunderstanding about a guy we both liked. We didn't speak for like 3 months, and it was honestly one of the worst times of my life. I was terrified of losing her friendship again, especially over something that wasn't even my fault. I decided I would talk to her in the morning when we were both clear-headed. I thought maybe I could explain what happened calmly, and she would believe me because we've been friends for so long. But when I woke up, I had all these notifications on my phone. Messages from mutual friends asking if I was okay after last night and saying they were disappointed in my behavior. I was so confused until I scrolled through more messages and realized what was happening. Dean told everyone that I was drunk and came on to him aggressively. He's claiming I tried to kiss him and couldn't handle rejection when he turned me down, which is a complete lie. I barely even had 1 glass of wine the entire night because I was too busy making sure everything was perfect for Tamara. The worst part is that Tamara has blocked me on everything: Instagram, Facebook, even my phone number. She won't answer when I go knock on her door. And our group chat is blowing up with everyone discussing my inappropriate behavior and how they need to support Tamara through this. I feel like I'm living in some alternate reality. How can this be happening? My best friend of 15 years believes her husband over me without even talking to me first. And now, all our friends think I'm some homewrecker who tried to seduce my best friend's husband at her birthday party that I planned. I don't know what to do. Should I keep trying to tell Tamara the truth, even if it might end their marriage? Should I just give her space? Am I crazy for thinking she should at least hear my side before cutting me off completely? I haven't been able to eat or sleep for days. I keep staring at our connected backyards through my window and crying. I just can't believe this is happening. Edit. Some people are asking if there were any witnesses. No, we were alone in the backyard. Everyone else was either gone or inside the house. And no, I don't have any proof of what really happened. Edit 2. To address some comments. No, I never had any kind of vibe or connection with Dean. In fact, the uncomfortable feeling I mentioned was probably my subconscious picking up on something off about him. And I've never been inappropriate with him in any way. I've always been respectful of their marriage. Now for the first update. So, a lot has happened since my last post. Honestly, I've been in a haze this entire week. My life has basically imploded in slow motion, and I'm still trying to process everything. Thanks for all the comments and support on my last post. I didn't expect so many people to respond. The past week has been absolute hell, like the kind where you keep thinking, this can't possibly get worse, and then it does. I haven't slept more than 3 to 4 hours a night. I've barely eaten, and I feel like I'm living in some kind of nightmare. After Tamara blocked me, the social fallout just kept getting worse. People who I thought were my friends are just gone. Karen texted me yesterday to tell me I'm not welcome at her baby shower next month. Her baby shower. I helped plan her gender reveal party and bought her this expensive stroller organizer thing that she specifically asked for. And now I'm uninvited because apparently I'm some kind of homewrecker. I couldn't even respond. I just sat there staring at my phone. Work has been a disaster too. I nearly missed a deadline for this big corporate photo shoot because I kept checking my phone every 5 minutes hoping Tamara would unblock me. My boss pulled me aside yesterday and asked if everything was okay at home, which was mortifying. I mean, how do you even explain this situation to your boss? I keep looking out my window at our connected backyards. That stupid little fence that we kept low so we could easily go back and forth. I'm thinking about building a real fence now, a tall one, with a lock. Tamara is still ignoring all my attempts to contact her. I've tried leaving notes in her mailbox, and I even tried to catch her when she was getting home from work, but she saw me coming and literally ran inside with Lily. She ran from me, her best friend of 15 years. And apparently now there's a rumor going around that I have a drinking problem. Brady called me yesterday and awkwardly asked how I was coping and said Tamara was giving me space to get help. I was like, what help? I barely even drink. Maybe a glass of wine with dinner sometimes, but that's a tea. I was completely sober at the party because I was the designated driver for a couple of guests. I literally had 1 glass of wine at the beginning of the night and then switched to water. And yeah, of course, Dean knows I'm not a heavy drinker. He's seen me turn down drinks countless times over the years, but that doesn't fit his story, does it? I did have this moment where I started wondering if maybe I had given Dean the wrong impression. Like, had I been too friendly? But then I immediately stopped myself because that's what victim blamers do. I didn't do anything wrong. I've always been completely appropriate around him, maybe even a little distant because something about him always made me uncomfortable. Yesterday, it got even worse. My friend Jess sent me screenshots of messages Dean has been sending people, saying he's worried about my drinking and saying I'd been acting inappropriate toward him for months. He's claiming I made suggestive comments when Tamara wasn't around and that I texted him late at night several times, which is technically true, but completely twisted. I texted him late at night about Tamara's surprise party and a few times about babysitting Lily when Tamara was working late. That's a T. I have the text history to prove it, but of course no one's asking for my side. I was sitting in my kitchen at 2 a.m. last night, just staring at the wall, couldn't sleep, and scrolling through apps on my phone trying to distract myself. And then I opened my home security app to check if this package I was expecting had been delivered earlier. and suddenly remembered something. I have a security camera in my backyard. I installed it last year after those break-ins in the neighborhood. And my camera definitely covers part of Tamara's yard too, including the area where everything happened with Dean. My hands were shaking as I scrolled back to the night of the party. And there it was, the entire thing, crystal clear. It shows me collecting decorations in Tamara's yard. Dean walks into frame holding 2 wine glasses, and you can see he's walking perfectly steady. So much for his claim I was the drunk one. The camera picked up our entire conversation. You can clearly see me moving away from him when he gets too close. The footage shows him leaning in to kiss me, and me immediately backing up and dropping decorations. You can hear me saying, "What are you doing? Tamara is right upstairs." And his response about having a connection is perfectly clear on the audio. But the worst part, after I walk away, you can hear him mutter "frigid bitch" under his breath. I watched it 3 times just to make sure it was as clear as I thought. I felt relieved to have proof, but also sick about using it. I hate confrontation. It makes me physically ill. And I kept thinking about Lily. She's only 4. She adores her dad. Would sending this video destroy their family? Would Lily end up growing up in a broken home because of me? But then I got a text from Tamara. Somehow she must have temporarily unblocked me just to send this. "I thought you were my friend. How could you do this to me? I trusted you with everything." And that was it. I couldn't let his lies stand anymore. So I sent the video directly to Tamara with a simple message. "This is what actually happened. I'm here when you're ready to talk." After I sent it, I turned off my phone. I couldn't handle seeing her reaction. I was so exhausted that I took a sleeping pill. I just needed to not be conscious for a while. When I woke up this morning and finally turned my phone back on, I had 18 missed calls. 10 from Tamara, 5 from Dean, and 3 from mutual friends. There was also a text from Tamara saying, "I need to see you. Please come over when you can." And then my neighbor Larry told me he heard a massive fight at Tamara and Dean's house last night. Said there was shouting and door slamming and a car peeling out of the driveway. I'm sitting here typing this, trying to work up the courage to go over there. I have no idea what I'm walking into. Is she going to apologize? Is Dean going to be there? I feel sick to my stomach, but I know I have to face this. I'll try to update again after I talk to her. Edit. Several people are asking why I didn't send the video right away. Honestly, I was scared. Scared of being the one to potentially break up their marriage. Scared of how Dean might react. Scared of losing Tamara and Lily completely. I know it was a mistake to wait, but I was literally in shock and not thinking clearly. Edit 2. To those asking about what the security camera caught, yes, the audio is very clear. I have one of those expensive systems that has really good microphones. You can hear everything that was said between us, including his comment after I walked away. Edit 3. A lot of you are asking why I care about preserving their marriage if Dean is such a creep. It's complicated. I care about Tamara and Lily, not him. And despite everything, I know how devastating divorce can be, especially for kids. My parents divorced when I was 7, and it was rough. But you're right that Tamara deserves to know the truth. Now for the second update. So a lot has happened since my last post. Like a lot. First, thank you to everyone who commented and sent support. I honestly didn't expect so many people to care about my situation. Where to even start? After I sent Tamara that security camera footage, I turned off my phone and took a sleeping pill because I just couldn't handle seeing her reaction right away. When I woke up the next morning and saw all those missed calls, I felt like I was going to throw up. 10 calls from Tamara, 5 from Dean, and 3 from mutual friends. And that text from Tamara asking me to come over. I changed my outfit like 3 times before walking over there, which is so stupid, I know. I almost turned back twice during the 2-minute walk to her house. My hands were shaking so bad, I could barely text my sister to let her know where I was going, just in case something crazy happened. When I got to Tamara's, I noticed Dean's car wasn't in the driveway. I knocked instead of just walking in like I normally would have. Tamara opened the door looking completely wrecked. Her eyes were all puffy and red, and she was wearing the same Michigan sweatshirt she'd had since college that she only wears when she's really upset. She just stood there for a second and then moved aside to let me in without saying anything. We sat at her kitchen table. I noticed right away that Dean's favorite world's #1 dad coffee mug wasn't in the dish rack and his laptop wasn't on the counter where it usually is. His keys weren't on the hook by the door either. We both just sat there for what felt like forever. I was picking at my nails, bad habit when I'm nervous, and Tamara kept wiping her eyes with her sleeve. Finally, she apologized for not believing me. And I started crying, like ugly crying with snot and everything. I couldn't even talk. Tamara reached across the table and grabbed my hand. She told me she should have trusted me. She wanted to believe Dean because he'd never given her reason not to trust him before. She told me she watched the video like 5 times. At first, she didn't want to believe it was real. She thought maybe I had somehow edited it or something, which I don't even know how to do that, but whatever. But then she recognized the shirt Dean was wearing that night and could hear both our voices clearly. She told me that when Dean came home from work that night, she confronted him immediately. She showed him the video without telling him where she got it. He first tried to claim it was edited or taken out of context. When that didn't work, he blamed alcohol, saying he was drunk and made a mistake. But Tamara pointed out he seemed perfectly steady in the video and his speech wasn't slurred at all. And he drove home that night. Then he tried to minimize the whole thing, saying it was just a misunderstanding and that I had been sending signals for months, which is complete bullshit. I've literally never flirted with him or given him any reason to think I was interested. And honestly, now that I think about it, I've always kept my distance from him because something about him always felt off to me. Like, I've never even hugged him properly. Always did that awkward side hug thing. Tamara said she asked him point blank if there had been other women. She said he hesitated before answering, and that told her everything she needed to know. She demanded the full truth and threatened to call his parents and even his workplace. That's when he finally admitted this wasn't his first inappropriate advance. Apparently, there was an incident with one of her coworkers at a Christmas party last year that she never knew about. While they were arguing, his phone pinged with a message, and when Tamara grabbed it, he freaked out and tried to take it back. She ended up throwing it across the room. Dean stormed out saying he needed space to think and didn't come back that night. The craziest part is what Tamara realized after he left. She told me Dean had been subtly isolating her from friends for years. He would make comments about certain friends being too dramatic or a bad influence. One time, he even suggested I was too flirtatious and attention-seeking around him. She always dismissed these comments before, but now she sees they were setting the groundwork for exactly what happened. So if he ever did something inappropriate, he could claim I was the one who initiated it, and people would believe him because he'd already planted those seeds. God, it makes me so angry thinking about how he planned this all. Anyway, that was 2 months ago. Sorry for the slow update. I've been dealing with a lot. Here's where things stand now. Tamara and Dean are separated. She's staying at her mom's house with Lily while figuring out next steps. Dean moved into some apartment downtown and is supposedly in counseling as part of his attempt to reconcile. She seems undecided about divorce, but I think she's leaning toward it, especially after she went through his phone and found inappropriate texts to another woman. Like, seriously, dude, our friend group is kind of split up. 3 friends, Jess, Maria, and Brady, have privately apologized to me for believing Dean initially. But Karen and Michelle still think there must be more to the story and have been weird around me. Whatever. I don't have the energy to convince them. I ran into Dean at the grocery store last week, which was honestly terrifying. He cornered me in the produce section. He kept switching between apologizing and then subtly threatening me to fix things with Tamara. He told me I needed to tell her it wasn't that serious and that I was ruining their family over nothing. I was literally shaking the whole time and just wanted to get away from him. But the best part was this dinner party at Brady's last weekend. I didn't know Dean was going to be there. Apparently, Brady invited him thinking it would be too awkward not to. Men and their conflict avoidance, I swear. When I saw Dean across the room, I nearly had a panic attack and went outside to get some air. But then he followed me onto the patio. He said he wanted to clear the air, but his tone was so fake and condescending. I tried to walk away, saying there was nothing to discuss, but he grabbed my arm. His whole charming act dropped for a second, and he told me I ruined his marriage with that video stunt. I pulled my arm away and said loudly that he shouldn't touch me. 2 of our friends, Brady and Jess, came outside because they heard me. Dean immediately switched to this concerned voice, saying I seemed upset like I was some hysterical woman. but something in me just snapped. I found my voice and told everyone to ask him what he just said to me. When he started to deny it, I just interrupted him and told everyone there that Dean was blaming me for his actions. I told them he tried to kiss me at his wife's birthday party that I planned, then lied about it and said I came on to him, and now he's mad that I had proof of what actually happened. Brady actually stepped up, which shocked me, to be honest, and told Dean he should leave. Dean looked around, and I think he finally realized he'd lost everyone's support. He left, but not before saying, "This isn't over," under his breath, which was honestly super creepy. Tamara wasn't at the dinner party, but heard about it from Jess. She called me that night crying and said she finally filed for divorce the next day. This whole situation has been such a mess. The good news is that the friends who doubted me finally saw Dean's true colors. Most of our get-togethers happen without him now. My friendship with Tamara is different. We're more honest with each other, but also more careful, if that makes sense. We're slowly rebuilding trust through weekly dinners, and I've been helping her figure out how to do stuff around the house that Dean used to handle. She called me in a panic last week because the garbage disposal was making a weird noise and she had no idea what to do. We ended up watching YouTube tutorials together and fixed it ourselves, which was actually kind of empowering. Last night, we were sitting in my backyard. Yes, the same place where everything happened, sharing a bottle of wine, and Tamara told me that despite everything, she was grateful I sent the video. She said it gave her the truth she needed, even though it hurt. Sending that video was one of the hardest things I've ever done, but I couldn't let his lies stand. Sometimes the truth hurts before it heals. Our friendship isn't the same, and I still feel guilty when I see how tired Tamara looks after a long day of solo parenting. But maybe what we have now is stronger than before, built on honesty instead of comfortable illusions. And I finally installed a very tall fence between our yards, with a gate that has a lock, but Tamara has the key.